ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. In the last class, which was 207th in this series, we had covered verses 30 and 31 of this chapter, namely Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga, where Bhagavan Sri Krishna especially showed or talked about the glory of the God principle. We went through several phases of his teachings, and presently he is talking about the redeeming power of devotion to God. We have in the 31st verse, which we saw last, Sri Krishna talking about how even a grave sinner can transform, can open an entirely new chapter in his life and become Dharmatma. The 31st verse assures us, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati. However bad our life might have been so far, we can change. We can change 180 degrees, so to say, 180 degrees. We turn roundabout, and rather than our body, mind, speech, kayena vacha manasa, doing wrong things, we will be getting into right things, pious deeds, noble words, and pure thoughts. Out of purity and silence come words of power, said Swami Chinmayananji. But where are we to get that purity? Where are we to get that silence? It is by studying the scriptures or doing satsanga with holy people and then developing devotion to God. In these days, there is an increased understanding of the interrelationship between not just the body and mind, but between so many biological functions in our body and the psychological movement in us. If anybody says, "Oh, I don't have energy, I don't have the right mood, somehow I'm not able to do sadhana," please know that you should not blame yourself for what you are trying to do and how your failure today. A lot of forces are at work. A lot of things have happened in this body and mind. And after all, even as science would say, even as physics would say, the state of anything in this universe is the result of the past momentum of the past. Therefore, so many, I would not use, nor do I know, medical or biological terms, so many components in the body have been unfortunately misused, abused, unused, disused, and all that past karma has its momentum. Let's face the reality. But the good news that Bhagavad Gita gives to us is no matter how damaged your system is, how disfigured, disoriented, how, what to call it, how distorted various faculties in us are. Irrespective of that, there is the great power of love of God which can make us revive everything. And the very first word of the verse 31 is like a shot in the arm. In American English, they call it shot. Shot in British or Indian English is an injection. A shot in the arm means such an injection you take, new energy, new enthusiasm. You are a new person as though. Just a while ago you said, I am damned, I am gone, no one can change me, I have no hope. You said all these words a while ago, but upon getting a shot in the arm, as the idiom goes, you say, wow, I don't think I have any problem at all. If there are problems, we will handle them. See? Like they say, the intelligent person sees an opportunity in every problem, whereas the unintelligent, even when he gets an opportunity, sees it as a problem. Oh, I have to do this now. Oh, I don't have free time. Always complaining is that unfortunate mindset, but the healthy mindset is able to take things in a stride. So much of personality development, so much of healthy changeover are all meant in this wonderful shloka. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, shashvat shantim nigacchati. And second half is Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, pratijanihi, pratijnam kuru. Go on the rooftop and declare to everybody, Name bhaktaha pranashyati. Someone truly devoted to me will not, cannot perish. That person will rise from the ruins. That person will be like the mythological bird, phoenix. The bird enters into fire and everyone thinks, gone. The bird is now dead. The story is over. Let's go home. Then, in a little while, the bird phoenix comes out of the flames. And rather than hurt or injured or burnt up, etc., the bird phoenix emerges from within the flames as a more shining, brilliant, splendorous being. That's why we say story of phoenix may be mythological, but it symbolizes the great real possibility. What Sri Krishna is talking is not mythology. Well, it is not myth. It is reality. There have been numerous cases. Acharya Shankara says, Pratijanihi means Nishchitam Pratijnam Kuru. Make an announcement, proclaim, declare it, make this message go far and wide. What's that message? Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Therefore, it is high time that every one of us stop wasting our energy, wasting our time in the finite goals of human life. At the most, they can be at the surface. On the deeper level, we must be primarily devoted to call it God, call it truth, call it Brahma, call it Atma. We must be devoted to the highest possible conceived or conceivable by our minds. Following this, Lord Krishna makes two announcements, or there are two shlokas now we will find, and these shlokas have to be understood in a proper way. Otherwise, these two shlokas can be a hornet's nest. As many of you know, the idiom hornet's nest means you touch the nest, so many hornets come out and bite you. They bite you, they sting you. A hornet's nest is, as the idiom goes, the source of a lot of suffering, lot of chaos, lot of conflict, lot of misery to every side. Look at what is happening in Bangladesh. The country is going to dogs. They are inflicting such pain to the minorities, acting through fanaticism, acting through mindless negative values. They are actually cutting their own legs. Maybe they are victims of some international conspiracy. It is said that some developed countries are playing with Bangladesh. And how sad. As most of you know, they charged the head of ISKCON, Hare Krishna, in Dhaka, the capital, with sedition. That this man is trying to destroy our country. He is anti-national. Something arrested him. And then some Muslim lawyer wanted to argue the case for the Hindu monk. And a mob attacked him, and I don't know who killed. That lawyer has been killed. Is there any law and order at all in Bangladesh? What is happening? And when they kill minorities, when they destroy, when they ruin, when they burn the shops, when they make the life miserable for those minorities, you think they will prosper, they will grow? It will take many years for Bangladesh to return to some reasonable, well-being. So how sad? So I went a little far from the explanation on the idiom or the idiomatic phrase hornet's nest. So let's read these two shlokas together, meaning not one at a time, one after another without a gap. Mam hi partha vyapashritya yepi syuhu papayonayah स्त्रियो वैश्याः तथा शूद्राः तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम् किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणा पुण्याः भक्ताः राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम्. This is an extension of the main message that devotion to God can take us from being at a lower level of consciousness, being at a lower level of dharma, where there is more adharma in our life, taking us to the higher level of consciousness, higher levels of dharma, higher levels of living rightly, where we too will feel blessed and our life is a blessing to many others too. The upward rise of every one of us has been the topic for a couple of verses, and these two verses are an extension of it. The main message is go for God and be blessed. Be so happy. All happiness, all fulfillment is in devotion to God. However, the way Sri Krishna has put it is, let me give a little intro, a little pave the ground, prepare the ground for it. If somebody like president or prime minister, says in a certain country where let's say the majority are whites, and he goes on the stage and says, now in my governance, in my ruling, Not only the majority whites, but even blacks, even Hispanics, even people from Asian countries. Everybody has opportunity to rise. Now, the president is not making that statement with any prejudice against those Asians or Hispanics, blacks or other, groups. That is how the society is for whatever reason. And there is a lot of consternation. Many people are concerned about whether the new government will only cater to the majority whites in this example, the president assures. So in his heart, there is no prejudice. Like that, Sri Krishna had no prejudice against the three categories he mentions here: women, traders, and laborers. Striyo Vaishyas Tata Shudra. So, why is he then mentioning them? It is drawing from how the society has ended up in that way. In any society in Africa or India, in Australia or United States, even in Canada, which was till recently a very peaceful country, all are not treated equally. The society is marked by some being labeled as privileged, some being labeled as underprivileged. Some are, facing threats. Some are, alas, by themselves lacking in motivation. It is good to say equality, liberty, and fraternity, etc. They are great ideals, nobody denies. But the ground reality is, as I am very fond of saying, even among the five children of the same mother, somebody is laid back, somebody is very, very assertive or very proactive. Somebody else is more interested in some hobby, some music, dance. Somebody else is very focused on her profession. Variety is the spice of life, they say. Like that, any society around the world. A lot of politics comes into all these topics. Some communities would like to say, and they have a lot of political backup, and they are strategists. Some communities would like to say, we have total equality in our community. There is no community anywhere under the sun which has really equality. There are a lot of diversity. There are inner divisions. Caste, for example, is a worldwide phenomenon. There are castes and there are sub-castes, there are further lower castes. Somebody other day released a list of castes, jati, among Muslims. Oh, there are so many castes, but all that is sort of covered up in their messages, in what goes out to the general public. Even if Islam says we have brotherhood, we have real brotherhood, I have a question for them. And not just I. B.R. Ambedkar asked this question to Islam. If in Islam you talk about brotherhood, why under the sun do you restrict it to only those who follow the Quran, only those who are into Islam? Have brotherhood worldwide, whether somebody follows Quran or Gita, Bible or Dhammapada, the Torah or Granth Sahib. Every human being should be your brother or sister. But to say those who follow my religion are my brothers, and those who don't follow my religion, let me not complete the sentence. So, where is true equality? This is not to whitewash or this is not to justify inequalities. I began saying, giving the example of the president of a, let's say, country like United States, who assures my law and my justice will be for all. And then he uses an expression, even the blacks. Why single them out? Even the Hispanics. How dare you single them out? Don't mention, and so on. No. When you have to convey a message, certain things have to be made clear. Or let me make it very short now. Women, traders, and laborers may be ill-treated in many other quarters by many other people, by so many vested interests. But this teaching does not do that. Therefore, the word api, not kapi, api. Api means in English even. Even women can rise to the ultimate heights. Even Vaishya, even Shudra. Someone like Swami Vivekananda in the 19th century. Someone like Swami Chinmayananda in the 20th century resolved this long back. Go for their interpretation. You will have no problem in your bosom. But if you see behavior of some X or Y, if X or Y is ill-treating some community, some gender, some class, and so on, that is unfortunately his problem. Swami Chinmayananji, all through his work, which went on for more than 4 decades, starting with a simple, humble series of discourses in Pune in December 1950. Swamiji spoke and spoke on Gita, on Upanishads, on various spiritual texts of Hinduism till the end of July 1993. And August 3rd, as you know, August 3rd in the United States, August 4th morning in Indian time in 1993, he breathed his last from the body point of view. So through the more than 40 years, I guess, if you count for 44 years or so, oh, what was the message he gave? In Hinduism, in Vedas, in Manusmriti, anywhere and everywhere. Just discount those statements. If there are some statements at some places referring to Janma, put it aside. Take Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, that fourfold classification. Take Purusha and Stree, the twofold classification, or any other kind of classification found in the scriptures. Take them all purely by psychology, psychological conditions. To go for my favorite way of putting it, a same mother and father could be having the first son a Shudra, second child daughter could be a Brahmin, third son could be a Vaishya, fourth could be a Kshatriya. And the 4 children of the same mother and father could be, from psychological point of view, 2 of them girls and 2 of them boys, though physically, who knows, all of them may be boys. Physically, all of them may be girls. Put aside the physical description, put aside the birth. Now you may say, Chinmaya mission and Ramakrishna mission, and then people like you may say it, but go and see how there are always a certain percentage of people in every society who have a different view. Do you know that even today there is a certain society, I guess somewhere in America, which is a very developed, most developed country. There's a small group of people who even now believe that the earth is flat. There's a group of people who believe nobody ever landed on the moon. That is all, fabricated by the powerful United States and so on. There are all kinds of, and sometimes Some of them may be otherwise very good people, but in a certain matter, they have. I personally respect much like Shrangeri, Kanchi, etc., who go by this Janmataha, Brahmanatvam, and so on, because those Swamis, if you have not gone near, you would not know, you would have your own opinion. Those Swamis, those Matadipatis live a life of tapas, live a life of great devotion to God. Their personal life is very pure. And then why do they believe that a Brahmin is a Brahmin by birth as far as their work is concerned? They also agree on higher levels of consideration. There are other definitions of Brahmins. But as regards, suppose they have a program where they have to teach Veda mantras, they would teach the Brahmanas by birth. They believe, and you must have sympathy for them on that count, they believe that God gives birth or God puts jivatmas in particular families based on their past karma. Leave aside Sringeri or Kanchi, Udupi or Srirangam. In the last century, there was a great saint in Karnataka, Sridhara Swami. He originally was, I guess, from Maharashtra, but later all his work was in Karnataka, near Sagara, Shimoga, Dakshina Kannada, that is Mangalore, Udupi, and so on. In the house where I grew up, as you enter, there was a big picture of Sridhara Swami. As I grew up, I come home from school, I see Sridhara Swami's picture, go inside and ask my mothers or sisters for some food and whatever. Sridhara Swami was a yogi. Sridhara Swami was a person endowed with miraculous powers, extremely, pious life, tapasvi. He grew up over there. Did sadhana at Sajjangad near Satara. Satara is near Pune in Maharashtra. There is Sajjangad on a hill. I had an opportunity once to go see the place where he lived and did intense spiritual practices devoted to Samartha Ramdas and so on. Sridhara Swami left behind a legacy of a whole lot of wonderful works. His view also is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, etc. are by birth. Now you and I with modern Western education and having been exposed to Vivekananda and Chinmayananda, of course get a jitter. Oh my God, such a noble person, why is he saying it is by birth? Does he not see a lot of exploitation and misuse of the privileges that the upper castes have? Sridhara Swami was aware of it. Recently, I chanced upon a book of his, and there was a chapter on Varnashrama. I was very curious. What does he say? I didn't know otherwise. Though he had, before I was born, he had visited my home in Karnataka. One of my elder brothers was named upon Sridhara Swami because he was born within a few months of Sridhara Swami's visit to my house. I knew about Sridhara Swami all along, not much. So that book had a chapter on Varnashram. I wanted to know, Sridhara Swami, does he take a stand like Vivekananda and Chinmayananda, or does he take a very orthodox stand like Sringeri or Kanchi, etc.? And I didn't know really. As I read it, I was surprised. He takes a very orthodox position. Believe in God. If God puts you in a certain family, that is the result of karma and so on. It is misused, that's a different issue. It is used for exploitation, yes, we agree. But originally, there was a vision and some small percentage hold on to it. Otherwise, without going very long, I am not a social scientist after all. I cannot go on and on, nor do I have vast amount of data. This is, as I said to you while introducing the shlokas, these two shlokas are a hornet's nest. You touch it with the sociological dimensions, it will lead to so much of controversy, and there are so many who are crying and so many who are defending. There are heated debates on all these things. But you must have sympathy for small groups who have certain beliefs based on how they see a mantra, their submission to a certain scriptural state. I often meet, saying this while proceed further, I often meet people of the so-called lower castes. You know what? They themselves, among themselves also have some hierarchies. Among themselves. On certain occasions, they bring out their grief, their complaints about the so-called upper caste. But then within their so-called lower caste, there are again 8 or 10, layers. I have come across some people within the so-called lower caste who have stubbornly refused to go for a marriage alliance between two layers within that so-called lower caste. So this is a human problem. To be judgmental, to label somebody on the basis of skin, color of the skin, on the birth, on so many other externalities. So, without going very long on it, there are a lot of sociological issues everywhere. Sri Krishna is saying, he is not endorsing it as such. He is saying, in this society, whoever may be, for whatever reason, underprivileged, exploited. And one more dimension of it is whoever psychologically might be having certain inhibitions, certain excessive emotional nature, certain attachment to maybe wealth and wealth only. Because Vaishyas sometimes are looked at as very focused on wealth, very focused on wealth, which is necessary for economic growth of a society. If you don't have a good number of people who always ensure that there is profit and wealth is protected, there are economics is a very important topic in human life, of course. But the person, suppose, he is unable to lift his head above monetary considerations, the person is not able to love God, for God comes later, money comes first, let us say. A lot of Vaishyas are not like that. A lot of Vaishyas are very God-minded. But the generalization is keeping in mind good number of cases where the community members are so much filled with thoughts about wealth. And Shudraha is psychologically, that's what Swami Chinmayananji says. Any of us, even a Swamiji could be Shudra if that person is unable to be creative, unable to be, seeing things from broader angles of view. If somebody, man or woman, born to whichever community, belonging to any ashrama, like even sannyasa, I said, somehow, maybe from beginning or maybe during a phase of life, that person is stuck with certain limited vision of things, certain limited vision of life. Then that person is called Shudra because that person will just do whatever is told to him or whatever he likes to do and he can't see beyond it. Among us, among you and me, there are many like that. Or in every one of us, there are times in the same day, within a 24 hours period, you and I are Shudras for a couple of hours. You and I are Shudras for 1 or 2 hours. We just can't see beyond things. We just repeat. You and I become Kshatriyas for 2 or 3 hours. You and I become Vaishyas. You and I become Brahmanas. Therefore, this Varnashrama, 4 Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and 4 Ashramas, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, and then 2 Lingas, Stri and Purusha. All of these are as rather unavoidable classifications. There are Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras in America also, in Australia also, in some different way. They are labeled using some other words. I feel compelled to say one more thing. In the so-called so developed country of United States, where it is democracy, prosperous democracy, successful democracy, etc., there is so much praise. Even those who vehemently criticize America, when they get a chance, they go and settle there. It's such a funny place. I had a friend in Los Angeles called Andy. Now he is no more. In the good old days, he used to tell me, Swamiji, uh, whenever I go to India for a short visit, my grandmother, my father, my sister, my brother, all of them say, Anup, his real name was Anup. Anup, come back to India. Enough in America. Please return. We love you. Bus, stop. Come back and live here in Jalandhar or Ludhiana, whichever. He says very humorously. He says, Mama, Papa, I will think of returning next year and so on. But on the last day when Andy picks up his bags to return to United States, the grandmother comes near him and says, Beta, son, dear son, please think a little about your two younger brothers. See if they can also go with you to US and settle there. So let me not talk more on US. In the United States, the main point I'm sharing with you is there is so much of anti-Semitic sentiment. There is anti-Semitic sentiment. Semitic religions in some contexts includes all the three, Judaism, Christianity and Islam. But in this context, anti-Semitic means against the Jewish people. In the context of the Israel and Palestinian conflict, that whole ugly thing has burst into the air, has become so huge. Oh my God. People wonder whether we are heading towards a third world war. So this problem is everywhere in so many ways. Please don't get distracted by these two verses into the sociological issues. There are platforms to discuss that, and you and I, if we are really mature people, we should go about it with no personal hatred, with no personal, raga dvesha. We must look at things objectively, and we must work towards justice for all. These two shlokas, let me come to the crux of the matter once more. These two shlokas are a declaration by Lord Sri Krishna saying, as regards the efficacy, the power, the effectiveness, as regards how bhakti works, there is no distinction. But this person is a lady, doesn't matter. But that person, is a Shudra, doesn't matter. Striyaha api, Vaishyaha api, Shudraha api, Europeans api, Asians api, Australians api, Afrikataha, blacks api, attach api to everybody. Anyone and everyone, once they get on to the boat, bhakti is sometimes called bhakti nauka. Bhakti navam prayacha, says Kulashekara in Mukundamala. Lord, bless me with the boat of devotion, whereby, boarding which I can cross this Bhavasagara. Bhakti navam prayacha. So, स्त्रियः अपि वैश्याः अपि शूद्राः अपि दक्षिणभारतीयाः अपि उत्तरभारतीयाः Americans अपि take this shloka as upholding, highlighting the universal applicability of bhakti. Mam vyapasritya. But why such a strong word, Papa Yonaya? So you people sometimes go charging on Bhagavan Sri Krishna. No. Papa Yonaya, we have already talked about it. If somebody is lacking in motivation, if somebody is money-minded, somebody is too aggressive and is bent upon teaching people lessons, and in the name of justice sometimes goes overboard. Kshatra guna sometimes goes overboard. Kshatratva basically is good. The society needs it. But Kshatriyas, when they go overboard, that means go into excessive expression of their gunas, they then can be very bad. They can kill people. They can, destroy those who disagree with them, etc. So, thing is, uh, all people who behave in certain unhealthy ways, there is a past. Why do they behave the way they are behaving? Yoni means the past, from where they come. They have come from a certain background. And that background is yoni. Yoni means the womb. Yoni means the source. Their past has been very troubled past. Somebody in childhood, let us say, was, insulted by upper caste people. Everywhere it may not happen, but in his case it happened. And what happened also is not the issue. His mind, as an 8-year-old boy, his mind recoiled, mind reacted, his mind sprang into so much negativities. And then he could not say it openly because they would beat him up more. In his heart, he said, when I grow up, when I become powerful, I will kill every upper caste person, on the earth, like that. Now in Tamil Nadu, some politicians have made statements. I will eradicate Sanatana Dharma. And other day, another politician from DMK also, he even said, especially about Brahmins, every Brahmin should be shot dead, he said. Most irresponsible statements. About no community one should say this. It is as wrong to say, I will kill every Brahmin, as it is to say, I will kill every Shudra, as it is to say, I will kill every Kshatriya, as it is to say, I will kill every Vaishya, or a woman who has been, let us say, put to much injustice by 2 or 3 men, one after another, then swears, I will kill all men in this world. To a woman, your mind has gone into a toss. So that kind of agitated mind, that kind of mind which loses sense of balance, which makes sweeping generalizations, which then goes after good as well as bad people. Suppose one is very money-minded person, the money-minded person will not hesitate to extract money even from a very poor people for whom there is no guarantee of the next meal. Some of the corrupt people in government offices. You might have seen the movie, uh, was it Munnabai MBBS or the next one, Lage Raho Munnabai. In that they show, I think, Lage Raho Munnabai, where Gandhi comes into the picture. A very poor man is going to a government office to get his pension papers passed. But there is one officer there who says, unless you give me 3,000 people, and I don't have to go to details, this fellow, even he could not get the money to travel by bus. He walked up to the government office, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Pass my file, please. And the adhikari says, the official, I don't care your conditions. First place 3,000 rupees, then I'll pass your file. And a very wonderful story, please. I will not go into that story. How that officer gets, taught a lesson by this man and all that. So, Papa Yonayaha means you and I, anyone among us, would be having diabolic ideas, ideas that are criminal, that are very negative, leave alone bringing harm to others. You and I sometimes have thoughts which bring harm to ourselves. We go more down and down. Instead of evolving, we devolve. Then you and I are Papa Yonaya. There is something about our background, maybe past life. We are so negative in our mindset. So once more, don't connect it with birth, don't connect it with some color of the skin, Don't connect it with North India or South India, European or Indian. This is a universal fact that there are people, and then psychologically, I quote Chinmayananda once more, they are named in our scriptures in this way. Striyaha not so much by the body, Vaishyaha not by the body, Rudraha not by the body, but the mindset. Different mindsets are seen. That's the ground reality. Lord Krishna says, no matter to what ground mindset you belong at this moment, go for love of God. Follow a Sadguru and say, God, give me a better mindset. Give me freedom from the mind itself. Moksha is freedom. In that context, the second shloka is like a corollary to the theorem. When Sri Krishna says, even those with rather, disadvantaged background, many people have a background that is disadvantaged. And many of us in this society have an advantaged background. One Brahmin who in the 1960s went to United States, was an engineer or doctor or something, and then during some travel he went to a small town somewhere in Illinois or somewhere. I heard real story. He went and he had needed a haircut. He went into a hairdressing salon and smaller towns, and America even now has some prejudice in some pockets. That barber said very nicely, "Sorry, I don't do give the service to colored people." 1960s. Now I guess it has further reduced. And this man said, "What? You don't cut my hair because I'm colored? But mind you, I am a Brahmin." What does that white barber care for? What does it mean? Sorry, I tell you, don't waste my time. Down the road, there's another barber shop. There they will cut your hair. Have a good day. So life teaches all of us great lessons when you think you are some special person and you get a slap on your face. So second shloka says, if the so-called disadvantaged people also can rise to unimaginable heights by the power of bhakti, Timpunar, then what is there to talk? Is there a need to say that disadvantaged sections of the society, Brahmana, and he tells them, well, they somehow, whatever it is, have a better past. They were treated well by others, and they also, God bless them, they also had done some japa tapa. From early young age, they were introduced to yoga, pranayama, some Gayatri japa, and so on. Such people, irrespective of the externalities, such people, punya, and then among kshatriyas, some are so spiritual, rajarshaya they are called. So even disadvantaged people can rise. What to talk of advantaged people? For them, matters are much easier. Either way, devotion is an unbelievably powerful tool. Go for bhakti. And Arjuna, I'm telling you, says Sri Krishna rather passionately. Arjuna, if you don't go to higher levels of spirituality, to get stuck on all these quarrels on the lower level, you are wasting your life. This life on the earth is not forever, anityam. And this life on the earth is not meant for wasting all your energy on petty quarrels. Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya. Having brought into this world where there are 1,000 distractions, where you lose your energy, waste your energy, do your duty, but otherwise, bhajasvama. Other than your duty, don't put your head into everything. Don't get into everything. Unless deep inside your bosom you feel that God has brought me. So if somebody like B.R. Ambedkar, and there are many great people, we highly respect them. If they really took it as a cause, they fought for equality. So many Brahmins also sacrificed many comforts and fought for equality. Some gave up their lives also. So people who fought for social justice have come from all the varnas, all the ashramas, all the genders. The ISKCON Swami Hare Krishna Swami, arrested by Bangladesh, and we don't know his future. Terrible it is. He was fighting for social justice, for Hindus, for minorities in Bangladesh. He, I believe, led a procession or something. Swamiji, Krishna Das Prabhu or something. So, from Swamis also, from Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, from men and from women, from all categories, all classes, all communities, people have emerged asking for ending of social injustice. So, if you feel that is my Swadharma, then go ahead. Sri Krishna himself has said, Swadharme nidaram shreya. But otherwise, please keep your priorities in right order. And the highest priority ultimately is Bhajasvama. Always hold God. Hold God tightly, no matter what your work in the world is. If not amidst the work, when the work is over, hold God. Don't let go of God. Remain in love of God. So these two shlokas are making once more another strong case for love of God, Deva Bhakti. Or if you are a Jnana Yogi, read Upanishads daily, even if it is for 10 minutes. Read Vedanta daily. Don't let go of that essential practice. Vajasvabha. Mam can mean Sri Krishna Devaki Sutta. Mam can mean Shiva or Devi, or in the Nirakara, Nirguna context, Mam Bhajasva means Brahman. Contemplate on that Brahma which is beyond all classification. Jati Niti Kula Gotra Duragam. There is a shloka in Vivekachudama. Meditate on Brahma, which has nothing to do with Jati, Niti, Kula, Gotra. It cannot be classified. It is beyond all classes. Meditate upon Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. Think of yourself being really beyond caste, beyond gender, beyond family, beyond any label. That is the Mam taken in the Nirakara Nirvana context. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.